All right, this is medical math number 3. So for the ones that I have that are not circled, these ones that are circled, you'll see as I go, and they're totally different problems. So I'm gonna do those in a separate video. So these are dilutions. Okay, and so this is going to be the formula. It's written here as well. That you're going to be using. So C stands for concentration. And V stands for volume. So if we're looking at concentration 1 times volume 1 equals concentration 2 times volume 2. That's basically what all these, and you're going to plug in, and one of them is going to be an unknown, and then you're going to solve for X. So on this first one, we have a 70% solution in stock, but the prescriber wants a 30%. So how much of this needs to be mixed with water to make this 30% solution? So our concentration 1 is going to be 70. Okay. And then, well, I'll get to that here. It's going to be 70. Our volume 1, we don't know. We don't have a clue. We have to figure out how much needs to be mixed with the water. Concentration 2, we want to make the 30%. So that's going to be 30. And then volume 2, what we want, is 200 milliliters. So then we're just going to do the math. So we do 70x equals 30 times 200. 200 times 30 is 6,000. And then you're going to divide by 70, and you get 85.7142857. But this is, you round to the 10th. Okay, so that's how you do that. So let's jump down here to number 5. You can see the other ones I've circled. We're going to get to those. Okay, so for number 5, this one has a 3% solution, but they want a 0.4% solution. So what we're going to do is concentration 1 is 3. Concentration 2, we don't know. Volume 1, sorry. Concentration 2 is 0.4, and volume 2 is 60. Okay, so we have that. So we get 3x equals, we make 60 times 0.4 is 24, which we know to be 8. So we need 8 milliliters of the Sabe. But you need to look at what it's asking for. It says how much diluent in milliliters would need to be mixed with the 3% Sabe. So we know we need 8 milliliters of the Sabe. We know we need 60 milliliters total. So we're going to take the 60 and subtract 8. We get 52. So we actually need 52 milliliters of the diluent. That is our answer. I guarantee you that that's going to be an answer. Okay, so make sure that you are always reading. Okay, flip it over. We're going to jump to number 8. Yeah, okay. Number 8. So they requested a 23% acetic solution. We have an 80%. So we're going to plug into our formula. So concentration 1, we have an 80%. And concentration 2, we don't know. Volume 1, we don't know. Concentration 2 is 23. Sorry about that. And volume 2 is 150 milliliters. So we just do the math. It's pretty simple. 150 times 23 is 3450. and you divided that by 80, you get 43.125, which is 43.1 is what you're going to want to do of the milliliters, of the 80%. Okay, number 9. Provider requests 45 milliliters of a 15% solution. You have a 100% solution, so how much should you mix of that 100% to prepare what you need? So we go ahead and here's our concentration 1. Volume 1 we don't know. Concentration 2 is 15. Our volume 2 is 45. We're going to do the math here. 45 times 15 is 675, which we know to be is 6.75 milliliters of the 15%. I went ahead and left that in the hundredths. It kind of depends on, because that's what it comes back to, even. But your answer might have been 6.8 milliliters. So you have to look at what your answer choices are. Okay, if it's both, I would go with this one. All right, then the last one I'm going to do is number 11. Provider requests 100 milliliters of the 35%, but you have a 65%. So what quantity do we need? Same old. Concentration 1, we have a 65%. Okay, volume 1, we don't know. Concentration 2 is 35. Volume 2, 100. So we do the math. 65x, 35 times 100, 3,500 divided by 65 gets you 53.8461538, so 53.8 milliliters of the 65%. Okay, and that's how you do dilutions. Tune into for my next video for allegations. All right, so now I'm going to teach you about allegations. Okay, there's quite an extensive process to this, but it's one of my favorite things to do. Once you get it, it's actually really fun. So the first thing you need to do when you have an allegation, it tells you in this problem that you're supposed to use the allegation method. But the way you know is that you can see that you have in all these, you're going to have a high and a low, and they want something in between. And so when you have 3 numbers like this, you know automatically it's the allegation. If you have a high and a low, and your low this time is water. So let me just get to that, and I'll kind of walk you through this one. So the first thing you're going to do is draw a tic-tac-toe board. So, and in this corner, you are going to write the number that makes the highest. It's the highest concentration, which is 60. So our highest concentration is going to go here. Okay. Then here in the bottom corner, you're going to write the concentration of your lowest. So in this case, water is actually 0. It's 0%. It doesn't have a concentration. So you're going to actually put 0 here. And in the middle, you're going to put what the prescription's for. What's the doctor want? We want 40, a 40% solution. So what I'm determining with this tic-tac-toe grid is how many parts am I going to take of the 60% and how many parts am I going to take of the 0%. And then I'm going to figure out how much that is in milliliters. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this. The first thing I'm going to do is take 60 and subtract 40. And I'm going to write the answer to that, 20, right here at the bottom. And then I'm going to take 0 minus 40, which is 40, right? It's not, we don't have to do no negative numbers. It will always want you to do a negative number because this is always going to be lower than this, but you don't do negative numbers. So now I know that I need 40 parts of the 60% and 20 parts of the 0%. And then what I'm going to do is find out the total parts that I need, which is 40 plus 20. I'm just going to write over here because I ran out of room. So I need 60 parts total. Okay. So now I'm going to figure out, I'm going to take a formula basically, and I'll put this formula on your kind of your cheat sheet that I get you soon. But for right now, what you're going to do is put its total parts, okay, 60, over total milliliters, which is 1 liter or 1,000 milliliters. Total parts over total milliliters. That's one side of our equation for our ratio proportion. And then the other side, we put how many parts, because we're going to figure out how much of the 60% we need. Don't get confused with this other 60 here, because that's total parts. But we need 40 parts of the 60%. I'm going to go ahead and just do this really quick so you can kind of keep it straight. And then I need to know how much of the 40, how much is 40 parts? Okay, how many milliliters is that? Okay, so now I've got my X. And I'm going to cross multiply. And I get 60X equals 40,000, I believe. I'm going to double check that. 40 times 1,000. Yep, it's 40,000. Okay, and then I'm going to divide by 60. And I get 666.666666667. Okay, so what I got here is 666.7. Okay, I'm going to round to the 10th because it's a liquid. Okay, of the 60%, milliliters, excuse me. Let me put milliliters here. Milliliters of the 60%. That's how much I need the 60%. Okay, but now, if you look here, it says, well, how many milliliters of water need to be added? Well, we need to figure out how much water we need. So there's a couple ways to do that. We could do this all over again with the 20 parts in here, or we could just subtract. We know we need 1,000 milliliters. How about we just subtract 666.7 and see what that gets us? So if we take 1,000 minus 666.7, we get 333.3, which is the milliliters of water, which is the answer to this question. Okay? So it seems kind of complicated, but it actually is very fun once you kind of get down to it. I'm going to do every one of these for you, and so you'll be able to do, and we'll have some more to practice on. All right, so the next one says we have 60 grams of 8% coal tar. Coal tar is what we are supposed to have, what the prescription wants. But we have 454 grams of coal tar and 100 grams of the 3% coal tar ointment. So how much coal tar needs to be mixed with the 3% to make 60 grams of the 8%? Okay, seems kind of complicated, but it's not. Okay, we just break it down. We've got our tic-tac-toe grid here. Okay, so when I do our highest percent, here's something you don't know, which I'm going to tell you. Just like our water was 0%, well, when you look at here, we've got coal tar and coal tar ointment. This coal tar is actually, it's going to be 100%. It's 100% coal tar. Okay, and then our lowest goes down here, our lowest percentage, 3, is going to go down there at the bottom. And what we want, 8%, is going to go in the middle. Okay, so now 100 minus 8, 92. 3 minus 8, 5. Okay, not a negative number. So now I know I need 5 parts of the 100% and 92 parts of the 3%. Okay, that's what we need. And so 92 plus 5, we know we have 97 total parts. Okay, that's our 97 total parts. All right, so let's go put total parts over total. This will be grams. It's not milliliters this time, it's grams. And our total grams is 60. This is what we want. 60 is total grams. That's one side of our equation. Okay, and we're looking for how much coal tar. So we need 5 parts. 5 is our top, parts and parts. We don't know how many grams that is. We're going to figure it out. So we ended up 97x equals 60 times 5 is 300, right? I have to double check myself. And then you go ahead and divide that out, divided by 97. And you get 3.092. And we're going to go ahead and round that to the whole numbers because it's grams. It's difficult to do 3.1. So we're just going to do 3 grams of coal tar. And that's what it's asking for. Okay, how many grams need to be mixed with that to make that? 3 grams. That is our answer. Okay. Let's jump here to number 4. All right. So this doesn't have any tricks like the coal tar in the water. This is kind of a more straightforward one. So we're going to go ahead and draw our tic-tac-toe grid. Our highest our highest strength here is 75% because that's going to go in the top left. Our lowest is 15. That's going to go in the bottom left. And what we want, 33%, is going to go in the middle. Then we're going to do our math. So 75 minus 33 is 42. And then 15 minus 33 is 18. And our total parts, you're going to add these two together, is 60. So we're doing with 60 total parts. Okay. So now we're going to go over and plug into our formula. We want total parts over total milliliters, which is 240, equals 18. We're going to figure out how much of each. So we have to figure out both this time. So first of all, we have 75 parts over x. So we're going to figure out, 18 parts of the 75%. That's my fault. So we're going to figure that one out first. So 60x equals 240 times 18. It's 4,320 divided by 60. And it's 72. Well, here, I'll even put it over here on the side here. So I know I need 72 what? 72 milliliters of the 75%. Okay. Now we're going to have to figure out how much of the 15% we need. So we can either set up our equation again. And so, or we could just take our total, 240 milliliters, and subtract 72. So once we do the subtraction, we're going to end up with 168. So it's 168 milliliters of the 15%, and that is our answer. We need both. Okay. Scroll up to number 6. Let's keep going. Okay, you can stop this at any time, see if you can do it on your own, and if you can, then come check your answer, or you can just keep going on with me. So we have a 10% solution, we have a 60% solution, they want a 43. So let's do our tic-tac-toe grid. Our highest concentration goes here, lowest over here. right? 60 and 10, what we want goes in the middle, 43. We do our math. 60 minus 43 is 17. 10 minus 43 is 33. And then our total parts, 33 plus 17 is 50. Okay, so we have our 50 parts. So it's 50 total parts over total milliliters. They want 90 milliliters. That's one side of our equation. The other side, so we're going to figure out how much of the 33. We can look back. Let's see. How much together to prepare? So we need both of them. So we're going to do our 33 total parts over x. We're going to do our math. 50x equals 33 times 90 is 2970. Okay, divide that by 50, and you get 59.4 milliliters of the 60%, right? And then we need to figure out, well, how much of the 10%. So our total amount of solution, we want 90 milliliters. So let's do 90 minus 59.4. We get 30.6. So I need 30.6 milliliters of the 10%. Cool? All right, let's go check. We've got 2 more to do. Okay, 2 more to do. So providers requesting a 15%, you have a 40, and you have water. Okay, so remember what water is. So let's do our tic-tac-toe grid. We have our highest concentration is 40, lowest is 0, and what we want in the middle is 15, right? So we got to do our subtraction. 40 minus 15 is 25. 0 minus 15 is 15. Okay, when we add these two together to get total parts, we get 40. Okay, so 40 total parts. So now we're going to take total parts over total milliliters, which is 2,000 milliliters, because 2 liters is 2,000 milliliters. Okay, on one side of our equation, we're going to figure out, let's see, should mix what amount of the 40%. So all we need to know is how much of the 40%. So 15 over x. We do the math. 40x equals 2,000 times 15 is 30,000. We're going to divide that by 40. We get 750, and that's our answer. 750 milliliters of the 40% solution. Always label, because then you know exactly what you're configuring. If I just put 750, you wouldn't know what you're talking about. All right, one more. Let's go down to number 10. Okay, so if you haven't so far, stop the video and see if you can do this by yourself. And then come back and check your answer and see if you did it right. Okay, so stop the video. Just kidding. So now we know they want a 15%. We have an 85 and a 5. Okay, so we're going to do our tic-tac-toe grid. Our highest concentration goes at the top left, 85%. Lowest, 5%. And what they want goes in the middle, 15%. Okay, we go ahead and do our math. So 85 minus 15 is 70. 5 minus 15 is 10. Then we add these amount of parts and these amount of parts together, get total parts, which is 80 parts. Okay, let's plug into our formula. We have 80 total parts over how many milliliters? 500 is what they want, total milliliters. Okay, and let's see, it's wanting just with the dextrose, the 5% dextrose. So let's just go down here and just get the 70 here, because that's how many parts of the 5% dextrose we're supposed to use. and then put that over x. Okay, so we're going to do the math. We get 500 times 70 is 35,000. Okay, we divided by 80 is 437.5. That is our answer, 437.5 milliliters of the 5%. Cool. Hope this helps, and we'll meet soon to do some more.